happy, all the things. I watch Smash every year as a holiday tradition, and this year you're coming with me. I'm pretty sure this is part 5, episode 5. And the episode is called Let's Be Bad. This episode hits the ground running. Everybody's kind of bursting into the rehearsal room. Julia's on the phone screaming to her husband, Frank. It's Frank, by the way. I remember his name. He's like, what? I can't hear you. I think you're breaking up. What? Frank, what? So Frank is out of town. Derek has some more choreography that he wants to try, and it looks like Ivy Lynn is in there, so he grabs the next best thing. And he's just so mean to her. He's like, oh, you've got nothing going on from the neck down, or something like that. Of course, Ivy Lynn walks in and sees this, and of course, she's immediately upset. Julia and Michael waste absolutely no time, okay? Instead of sitting in the rehearsal room or like out in the hallway to discuss his questions, they go out on like a date. They go to this diner, they have like coffee and pie. Well, Michael has pie. There's like whipped cream on the side of the plate, and she keeps like licking it off of her finger. Meanwhile, Tom is on a date with the hot lawyer, and he's like, oh, you know, I'm not really feeling anything on the menu. Like, you want to just come over to my house for a nightcap? And Tom says no. So the lawyer's just like, okay, are we just not ever gonna have sex then? Bonus points for directness, but you know, I guess in the city that never sleeps, there's no time for anything. Back on Julia's date, she's getting a phone call that she keeps ignoring, right? Now, Tom's phone is ringing, and it turns out that it's actually Leo, and he has been arrested for in the park. Though it was from like a vaporizer, not... So now they have to go down to the police station, and hot lawyer is actually taking control of the situation. And Tom is like, damn. He's super into it. Okay, now we're at City Hall, and Dev is with this woman. I don't know, they're talking about his job and how like he's up for this promotion, but like it turns out that they might have brought somebody in, you know, from Washington. Now he really has to fight for this promotion. I don't know. This is another plot line that doesn't matter. But Karen comes in, and he introduces the woman to Karen. He's like, no, this is RJ. But Karen thought that RJ was a man and not like a hot woman. Oh, and RJ and Dev have like inside jokes. They have like a little thing. So she's a threat. Back in Eileen's office, she tries to get her assistant on the phone, and then he's like, oh, this is awkward. Jerry offered me a job and I took it. Imagine that he doesn't give her like 2 weeks notice. He gives her no notice at all. He just vanishes one day and she's... But anyway, she's back in her office, and she can't get into her computers because she like doesn't know the password for all the things. And Ellis, he just happens to be there, and he's like, hey, I'm pretty good with computers, and like Tom's super busy, so like I can help. We're back in rehearsal, and Sam's trying to talk to Tom about sports. He's like, did you watch the sporting with the sports? Do you believe how exciting the sports were with sporting last night? Tom's like, I don't sports. Cass is singing through Let's Be Bad, and honestly, it sounds fine to me, but Derek's very upset. Something about the vibrato on the note. He's like, you're not hitting the vibrato on the note, right? And he's just very angry. By the way, look at this intimidating little clusterfuck of angry white men over here in the corner. I mean, he singles out Karen, and he makes her sing Happy Birthday. He's like, I know that you can do it. Just stand up and sing Happy Birthday as Marilyn. So again, she's humiliated, but she does get up and she sings Happy Birthday as Marilyn. And Ivy Lynn is like, I will throw you down a flight of stairs and film it. Okay, no, I'm hearing you. Because the very next scene is going to be Ivy doing something very Snatcherella, but may I point out, it is Derek that is pitting those women against each other. He hasn't gotten what he wants, and so the only way that he can do that is to pit 2 women against each other. 2 insecure women that want nothing more in the world than to please him. But he tells Ivy that she needs to come back to the rehearsal space after rehearsal for a singing lesson with Karen so that she can learn how to do what Karen does. I mean, what? Ivy comes in hot, and she's on the phone, and she's very, very clearly talking shit about Karen when she's right there. It's super awkward, and Karen tries apologizing, and she's like, I'm so sorry, like, I don't know why he needs you. And she's like, what? Take singing lessons from a chorus girl? A really intense back and forth. And then Ivy's like, you know what? Can I just give you a little advice? I'm a grown-up. I know I have a pretty clear sense of what I bring to the party, just like Marilyn. It's not nice. No. We're back in rehearsal, okay, and it must be like a different day because we have an outfit change for both of them. And they're trying to run Let's Be Bad, but Ivy Lynn is having a hard time, okay? Like, she stops, you know, and they're like, hey, let's try it again. And she's like, okay. But she has to stop again, and then we kind of realize that she's crying. Like, really crying. But she does this kind of iconic badass thing where, like, she's like, just give me a second, and she just turns her back, and she, like, cries it out, but, like, very briefly, and then she just looks up, and she's like, I got it. Like, I know that we shouldn't be crying at work or whatever, but like, you know, I have. I wish I could just pull it back together just like that, but I can't. And I don't look as pretty as she does when she cries. But this time when they're running Let's Be Bad, it does the thing where it switches from rehearsal into the real show. And it is actually a very cool scene. Because when they're in the rehearsal space, you can't like see what the concept is, but the concept is really cool. They're trying to shoot this movie, but Marilyn is late and she's like on a bunch of drugs and she's drunk. Like kind of showing how like the whole film system like kind of pushed her around and she like didn't have any sense of herself. But Ivy is absolutely thrilling, and like, you know, she ends the song, she's like, some like it hot and that ain't bad. And very last note of the song, you know, she's back in the rehearsal space. It's pretty cool. Everybody just bursts into applause. They're like, oh my God, that was so good. They're like all cheering, and Ivy is happy and she's like laughing, and Derek just leaves. Just leaves the room, no notes. It's after rehearsal, and Ivy is out with Michael Swift and our friend Sam. Ivy and Michael Swift are like drinking because, like, you know, the person that they like love or care about or whatever is not being clear with them. Sam seems to be there just like as moral support, you know. He says that he tried to talk to Tom today and then he didn't like. Ivy Lynn is like, why? And then Sam's like, because he's just so gay. And then Ivy Lynn's like, Sam, you're gay. Oh my God, surprise! What? The guy that likes sports and sporting is gay? I don't believe you. What? There's a twist you didn't see coming. Karen and Dev are getting ready for some sort of mayor's office like dinner thing. It's going to be on a helicopter pad. Once again, he is saying that the thing that he has going for him is that he has a hot girlfriend. I feel like this isn't talked about enough. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, Dev is gorgeous, whatever. Oh my God, wait for the Bollywood thing. No, I don't want to spoil it. But he objectifies her in like the biggest way throughout the entire show. I don't know why nobody ever talks about that. Anyway, he leaves for the party and then she sings It's a Man's World and has a little striptease in the mirror. She finished it up by saying, yeah, I know what I bring to the party. Okay, we're back at Julia's house. She gets a knock on the door and it's Michael Swift. She's like, go home. You absolutely can't be here. Just give me 2 minutes. And then Leo calls him Swifty. It's like, is that Swifty? Ivy Lynn is also drunk and has turned up to Derek's door. She really lets him have it. She really does. She's like, you're absolutely hideous to me in rehearsals. You humiliate me. And then he kind of yells at her about having feelings. He's like, I am doing important work and it would be so helpful if everybody could just pretend not to have all those annoying feelings. And kind of scream back and forth at each other and stuff. And then he's like, don't be mad at me. And she spends the night. No question. She's in a relationship with a super narcissistic, abusive asshole. How can this be? Like, I don't understand. And like, why are they having a full-blown relationship? He doesn't seem to like her very much. Now we're at the mayor's office dinner party that's on the helicopter pad. And Karen arrives in this beautiful red dress. And it turns out that RJ did not save a space for her at the table. Shady, shady. She has to go sit at another table. Michael Swift is making himself at home in Julia's house. Apparently, he and Leo go way back and they've got all fun things to talk about. And Karen is like flirting with a gentleman at her new table. I honestly don't blame her. I cannot believe that Dev sold her out. But she tells him that she's playing Marilyn in the Marilyn Monroe musical. She's like, do you want me to come to your hotel room and sing Happy Birthday, Mr. President? Which we know that she can do. He's like, how about Happy Birthday, Mr. Press Secretary? Apparently this is the guy that Dev has to compete with over the job. I don't care. Tom and Hot Lawyer have sex, but apparently it is absolutely terrible. Like literally, they both burst out laughing about how terrible it was. We're back at Julia's and she is sitting outside with Michael Swift. She's trying to get like a car to come and pick him up. And he says, you know, I want to be with you. His intentions have been clear from jump. It is so weird because we see him with his wife and kid, but like the second he gets around Julia, he's like soulmate. He sings a song to her, his car pulls up, and she's like, good night, and he goes and he walks to the car. But then he looks back at her, and he does the thing where he slams the car door, and he goes back, and bam, they're making out. It's like a super hot and heavy makeout. And the episode ends with us seeing that Leo has seen the whole thing. What's he gonna do? I feel like this episode went through like a lot of things. I think we start to see that Ivy is being absolutely manipulated by Derek. How in turn, instead of like coming at Derek about it, she's going at Karen about it. Derek is the devil. And you know who else is the devil? Julia. God, I hate her. She's awful. Okay, I'll see you in the next part.